Okay, time to finish up the Challenger Week 1 Div series. I know I'm a bit late, but I do promise by the time you're watching this cast, and I believe there's 2 more series going up with it, there will be an update video out where I'll lay out the plans going forward, because I want to stop trying to put things out this late and get caught up on the season. But more to come on that in a future video, so I don't want to get bogged down talking about it. My plan is to put up a recap video for week 1, and I'll use that platform to kind of talk about how week 1 went, both for the teams playing and for this project of mine. But that's just my thoughts, so as we get into the game, we're gonna push that to the side and see a nice game for UCLA, see a nice game for York Lions. I did actually, before we get really into the cast, I did for the first time look a little bit at the ranks of these teams before we get into it, and it looks like this is gonna be a good game. I don't know if I can pull it up actually. Well, one of my buttons is broken, that's unfortunate. But if I go in through here, I don't think I can see ranks when it's professional profiles. Oh no, I can, okay. So it doesn't show the team here, but I can click through. So we've got some Divine and Immortal stacks versus some very strong players over on York as well. So anyway, not really a focal point of these casts, but I was interested. I did grab a peek at the score of this game, this series in particular, because as I'm running so late, I kind of had to know when I could fit the recordings for this cast in.
A gift from the night.
So yeah, there's that to deal with. And actually, I believe, let me make sure I'm not getting this wrong here. Oh, never mind, I was about to get it wrong, so it's a good thing I double checked. Oh no, I was right, okay, yeah. So, getting into this is actually, it's gonna go up as game number 1, but this is actually game number 2 of the series, with UCLA, at least in the CSL page, have been reported as winning game number 1. Again, something I'll talk about a bit more, probably in the review video, but this is a game that I actually don't know much about. So I don't know if they took game number 1, if there was a forfeit issue, if they took game number 1 and there was a ticketing issue, because obviously week 1 you do see some issues with the ticket. But yeah, this is game number 2, and UCLA did take game number 1. So I don't know if we'll see any all chat or anything, but if there is any reference to it, there's why.
Excellent idea.
I actually noticed that I didn't go through people's names this game, which I usually have been doing, and I feel like that helps clarify things a little bit, because these aren't teams that everyone knows. But we will see the players' names as the game progresses, I suppose. So mid, I feel like we haven't been seeing a ton of actually like classic quote-unquote matchups over this week, this week 1, this first week of CSL games. Lesh versus Quap definitely is one of those classic matchups, and I'd actually say it's probably pretty even. Maybe give a little bit of edge to the Queen of Pain. Should be able to harass Lesh with the dagger a little bit. But I think in no sense is Lesh too worried about this lane. I've got to calibrate my brain a little bit to see what heroes are where. It's always funny getting into doing some casting and doing some recording without being really into it. It takes a minute to shift mentalities, I think. Oh, an unfortunate uphill miss there. Man, that feels so bad, especially on the range creep. Like, you played the wave decently well, but because it pushed up just a bit too far, uphill misses are just... I mean, they absolutely need to be in the game, it makes a ton of sense, but they feel so bad when it happens to you like that. But yeah, pretty chill. Both sides do have the bottles out. Lesh actually doesn't. Lesh's is on the courier, so a little bit delayed from Leshrac, despite being ahead in CS. It's actually interesting. I guess the Quelling Blade is the difference maker, but he's able to get his bottle and go grab that water in. I would imagine at some point, actually, look, with Quap's gonna max Scream. Does have 2 points into the dagger, but up top, Rubik. Fairy Fire. Gonna be able to probably run his way away. Brain Sap actually coming off cooldown, and some nice body blocks coming out cooldown. Stealing his name from Warcraft, just like Dota stole its life's blood from Warcraft. And it grabs the first blood for himself. I'm allowed to go off on tangents if I see the kill. It's perfectly acceptable behavior. I think I'm learning a little bit. If I don't go off on tangents doing solo casts, I'm gonna go absolutely insane because I don't have a co-caster, an analyst, or anyone to bounce any conversation off of. So if I have to stick to just what goes on in the game the whole time, it'd drive me crazy. I'm very interested to see. We're gonna see Quap hit level 5 here if the third point goes into dagger, and it actually is gonna. Okay, so I'm a little bit surprised about this. Vico, obviously a very good player, does put the third point into dagger, and the intention here is pretty obvious. Quap wants to completely zone Lesh out of the lane. The difference maker being, we've seen most Quaps recently max out the Scream. It accelerates your farming. If you've got stacks here, you can take the small camp stacks easily. You even take the large camp stacks. The third point in dagger means Quap wants to zone Lesh out of the lane, but he's maxing Lightning Storm anyway. He's gonna be just fine going to the jungle. Actually missed the stack on the small camp. I thought he got it. We saw him pull it out towards that top rune. But Lesh will be just fine Lightning Storming the wave and pushing it out, going to farm the camp. So a little bit surprised in the third point in dagger. Again, if this was a different time and people were going the dagger max anyway, be a very easy choice because you want to zone him, but it does slow down your farming speed just a little bit. Time Vico going for the stack, see if he's able to get it, and move speed creep not able to make it back at that. So stack will get off. It's a bit closer than maybe he had wanted, but we'll get it off. Up top, anti-mage actually able to man up a little bit. And yeah, AM 31 CS. I mean, he's having a grand old time up here. And yeah, against the Sand King. Sand King not really gonna do much to contest him. He's got the max Sandstorm. Maybe if he thought he could get some pressure, you can max Caustic, but I really don't think it's worth trying. Anti-mage just has a pretty good time. I actually see a burrow forward, but Bane just gonna walk away. 6-minute rune's gonna spawn. Looks like we've got a support rotation down bottom. Mirana coming, but Vintage pops up the Ilu rune. Uses it right away to dispel the dagger. Gonna just put some pulse damage out. Push out the wave at the same time. 2k ping. Ping higher than his MMR. Kidding, Gul'dan. We love you. There's no flame in these casts.
You're a trusty maid.
Haven't talked about bottom at all. Bottom, to me, just feels like it is a really boring lane. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just Wraith King versus Kunkka. You're both going to hit the creeps. You're both going to push out a little bit. Wraith King's going to try and farm the hard camp, even it's actually blocked right now, so he's not. Actually, I say that. It makes a lot of sense that it's blocked with a Mirana down here. You don't want her just arrowing the big creep all the time and being annoying. But yeah, and with the Jakiro, I mean, there's really no threat to either of these heroes. They're big tanky strength, of course. The only thing that could get Wraith King in a little bit of trouble is if he got, like, max distance arrowed. And really shouldn't be happening. Maybe you have, like, your X torrent set up into an arrow, but Jakiro here as well should be pretty safe. Go look at the pull contest. Arrow gonna come through. Jakiro. Gonna dodge the torrent, so should be able to run underneath the tower and run. It did have leaps available, but not gonna commit them. We're gonna see a little bit of a brawl here. Wraith King trying to block up Maestro, but able to play his way out. Look at these stacks. Holy. So that's what it was. Lesh actually, when he was stacking, wasn't stacking the small camp for himself. He was stacking up this large camp. He's gonna get a huge influx of gold here. Nice ancient stack. That'll probably be for AM. I'd imagine Lesh won't be taking that one. But we will see. And they do bring Rubik over to come leech for mid, which is very nice. Sand King, level 6, very much self-sustaining. Already hard for him to contest anti-mage, so really you can give up on that game plan by this point anyway. So not really missing anything by having Rubik go towards mid. Nightmare gonna come out, but looks like it's just some zoning. But Vintage did make the TP up here. Just gonna become aware of this now. Stun gonna come out. Is gonna latch onto Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage trying with the blink out. Not gonna be in time. Epicenter did come through as well as the Fade Bolt. Rio on Sand King. Gonna claim a couple of kills. Glyph gonna be activated to dodge some of the pulse damage. Or the Edict damage, rather. But with that max Edict, Vintage gonna be sticking around in this top lane. They should be able to get this tier 1 tower. Though Vico did come up here, and Bane making the TP as well. I mean, Anti-Mage really doesn't... Anti-Mage is gonna come back. I was gonna say Anti-Mage doesn't really want to come back. If there's gonna be a brawl in this lane, he will come back. A little bit surprised that they decided to bring LaMelo back. Wow. Kunkka has 82 CS down here. I guess he's just been taking a lot of Wraith King skeletons, right? That's my only explanation, is that with the Tidebringer cleave, he's able to get all the CS on the skeletons, even though they don't give him much. Because that's an absurdly high number. He's gonna have 100 CS in 10 minutes. We did see him cleave up some more skeletons there, so I'm assuming that's just exactly what it is. With no hard camp, the skeletons run down the lane. And because they run down the lane, Tidebringer's gonna hit him anyway. But Maestro with the hood, he's gonna have the phase boots ready as well. Gonna be pretty strong. Torrent into the arrow combo, gonna be there, but Wraith King with the armlet. He's got old skilled, Soul Ring is as well is ready. And yeah, a lot of heroes grouped up top, and at the same time, Vintage sieging that mid tower with the Edict. Gonna be able to claim the top rune for himself as well. A very fortunate spawn there with the haste, and the longer the pressure gets put on this top, it's really gonna start to divide the team, because Quap wants to make the rotation over, but needs to defend that mid tower from Leshrac, otherwise it's gonna go down very, very quickly. But getting sieged in 2 lanes like this really just Never feels that good. We will see Mirana TP up here. Nature. Gonna be lifted up, and Sand King forced to run over to the side. Arrow is gonna be on the mark. Tried to TP back, but not gonna make it. Fiend's Grip gonna be dropped down as well, and Anti-Mage blinks over to secure the kill. Grabs some of that gold for himself. Vico now gonna be on the receiving end of some of those Wraith King skeleton CS. And immediately you do see the line drawn. Bane wants to run towards mid, but gonna actually decide not to. Stay in this top lane, try and relieve some of the pressure on Anti-Mage. Is kind of just hanging around. We will see Vico. Says, fine, if you won't come to the mid, I'll come top, and then immediately the lane pushes the other way in and is forced to go back to the mid as Vintage was looking to pressure and actually doing a lot of damage to Vico, but now the turnaround is in with the Scream. With the Sonic Wave. Actually not going to be enough. Rio came in with the Burrow Strike and gonna stop any kill. Mello came in, Mana Void not enough. Under 40 HP on the Shrek. And now the turnaround. Stun gonna come through. An nice Ice Path. TP in from Jakiro was right on time. Rio with that Blink Dagger. Very nice rotation, and Jakiro gonna claim the tower for himself. The Liquid Fire attack doing the last hit on that tower. Wow, you know what I'm realizing? Must have been like 5 minutes ago. I saw this big stack and I was like, wow, yeah, they're gonna give this to Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage totally on the other team. They can give it to Wraith King. Wraith King not the best taker. Alright, Nightmare and set up into the arrow. Rubik gonna be stunned up. Vico gonna come in with the TP and net himself a quick kill, and I'd imagine that's the end of it. UCLA is sticking around a little bit, and we see the TP in from Vintage. Vintage ready to go forward. Rio X mark back. Boat gonna be actually still online, even though he got stunned up in the Ice Path though. Rio, Fiend's Grip down, will be cleaned up first. Vintage now gonna be forced to just run away back to the safety of his tower. Caught up by the Nightmare. There is no arrow. The quick nightmare transfer, and Vintage gonna run his way away. Anyway, yeah, so Anti-Mage will not be taking this ancient ancient stack on the Radiant side. If he is, that's a big problem. Instead, we might see Leshrac try and take it with his level 2 ulti. I could imagine that's what he's waiting for. Otherwise, Wraith King can do it. He doesn't do it the fastest, but he can take it at some point. Wow. Directed camera really wants to look at Sand King, so you see the tower go down. Yeah, it really is loving Sand King. Wow. That's funny. Let's see. More stack applied to this. Yeah, it looks like... I really don't want to see him give it to Sand King. They could. I don't like it. Not the biggest fan. They're gonna try and take through it as a team, but... Sand King already has the Blink Dagger, that's why I say he doesn't really need to be too involved in this. Looks like they're gonna give the majority over to Wraith King and help him build this lead. But yeah, you do see that sometimes here. You just give it to whoever's easiest to take it, and in this case, Sand King could grab it with Sandstorm, but once you have your Blink Dagger, I mean, you're really not looking for another big item. You don't need the stack to get that influx of cash. And you can just see how rich Wraith King is. 8.2k. It's about to have a Desolator. Really did benefit from all that pressure applied top. You know, Mirana forced the TP away, and once Kunkka was called up to defend that top tower, he really was just left free for the rest of the game so far, I suppose. On the other side, you see Anti-Mage. He's not farming at a bad pace. He's got the Battle Fury treads ready. He'll be building into his next item, probably a Manta. The Moonlight Shadow, gonna be used up in the top lane, was underneath the Observer Ward for UCLA, so UCLA gonna bail out underneath the safety of the tower. See if that ward gets dewarded. Nightmare forward, arrow gonna come in. There's no Nightmare cancel, but with the supports hanging around for UCLA, that's gonna be all she wrote. And now the turnaround. Rio jumps forward with the Sandstorm. Gonna find Gul'dan. And continue to play forward in this YU jungle. Epicenter gonna be channeled up. He's thinking about it. Not gonna channel it quite yet as they'll just take the tower. Now he's gonna finish it. Stolen Nightmare gonna catch out Kunkka into the Ice Path. Wraithfire Blast to follow. Maestro crit down by IDC MMR on the Wraith King. Has that Deso completed. He hits very, very hard this stage of the game. So the first tier 2 gonna fall, 17 minutes, outpost will be claimed. Vico has Akaya, working towards Akaya Sanj, but I don't want to say he's starting to fall behind because he's not, but he's not having that snowball start that you're looking for when you're starting to lose your towers like this, especially against Leshrac, who with any little advantage just gonna squeeze your map. And wow, straight into Roshan with the Desolator completed. They are ready to go now. Nature gonna toss an arrow in. He doesn't know what's going on. It's gonna hit Wraith King, so gonna slow up the Roche attempt. Rubik stole arrow as well. He saw him throw it into the pit at Roche, but Age is gonna be collected for Leshrac. Vintage gonna feel very strong. One of the best heroes, honestly, to carry the Aegis. It's kind of like a Storm Spirit. You want to be in the middle of fights. You want to be spending all your mana. You go down and you just are full mana again. You're super happy. Feel very, very strong whenever you get that Aegis.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower.
So York now, a little bit behind, and most of the power really is on Wraith King, so it's just a 3k net worth lead for UCLA, but with the Anti-Mage, he's going to try and farm as fast as he can. Now jump, Burrow Strike forward, Stolen Arrow going to connect onto Vico. Vico gonna go down quickly. That Stolen Arrow doing so much work, especially with the Blink Burrow Strike you've got on Sand King. It's really free setup for the arrow. Thinking about the epicenter. Scare out. Bleh. Arrow comes through scouting out for UCLA. Now Ice Path gonna be dropped forward onto Bane, and he will be sapped down as well. IDC MMR wants to just walk up the high ground. 2 kills and with no quap, he wants to walk forward. Maestro with the Self X. Actually with the Stolen X. My mistake, it looked like he was in the cast animation. In the meantime, Lamella doing everything he can, trying to get some split pressure down on the spot tower. And he is farming up decently. Working towards that Manta, like I was saying. He's almost got it completed now, and he's caught up towards the Wraith King. Just a couple hundred net worth behind. And Wraith King, really, he got his Deso and he grouped up with his team. And because of that, he's fallen off the farm just a little bit. So he's not hitting creeps while he's sieging towers with his team. But obviously it has worked in their favor as they've collected now a 4k net worth lead and 2 tier 2 towers to boot. Vico. X'd up by the Stolen X. We actually see 2 X marks out at the same time. Arrow gonna come through towards Sand King this time, but no follow-up, and over on the side, Bane did fall. Crit down by the Wraith King. It looks like we might have a fight brewing, just a little bit of poke coming out in the mid lane. Wanted to see how Pain died. And yeah, 500 damage. I'd imagine that's just one crit as well. Absolutely crazy. Down bottom, we do see a lot of York gathering up. Gonna have that Moonlight Shadow available in just a couple seconds, but the wraparound from UCLA is coming behind him. Bunko, Maestro, gonna run straight into this. Dual breath forward, but now the rest of the team for York has arrived. Epicenter gonna come through, but only gonna connect onto Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage gonna blink away towards the side. He's just fine now. Wraith King jumps in with the huge crits. Finds a quick kill. Gonna look forward, try and find more. He's got a Blink Dagger ready in 6 seconds, but gonna back off. And Mirana, the only casualty in that fight. Let's hold that thought, Maestro. Caught out by the lift. Burrow Strike gonna be available in just a second. Yules, nice. Not a nice stacking of stuns, I should say. Vintage. Used the Yules to make sure he secured his own stun. And they will find themselves that kill as well. Down bottom. Wraith King with that Blink Dagger. Able to go in. Tries to crit down Lamello as well. Anti-Mage able to blink his way to the side. And Moonlight Shadow gonna be used. Make sure Nature can run his way away. Hanging around underneath this tower. Has leaps available, so he should be just fine, but
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
is sticking around. Maybe he wants to cut the next wave with the Starfall. Not exactly sure what his game plan is here. He has no TP, and now that he's waited out the Moonlight Shadow, it's a little bit late to try and run back to your high ground.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So just a little bit stuck. Jump forward. Wraith King gonna be nightmared up this time. Ice Path just to try and defend Vintage. Tanking the tower. Thinking about just dying for the Aegis pop, I'd imagine, as that will go down in just 15 seconds. He will eventually fall. Looks like he was crit down by the Tidebringer, but that's just the first life. Bean's Grip immediately cancelled. IDC MMR blinks onto the back. We'll find that kill. Boat gonna be dodged. A nice Yule's Scepter coming out. Vintage. Able to just charge forward. Wraith King. Gonna pop that Reincar, but he'll be just fine. And over on the side, Mirana finally able to get into the fight, but just to be brought down by the supports on the back line. Now, buyback comes out from Mirana. There's no reset. Only thing left is that Epicenter, but Rayo gonna jump out, gonna try and smoke and retreat together, having forced a buyback out of York, and they will be able to do just that. The UCLA manages a full retreat together. Ooh, look at this. This is a treat. Anti-Mage with that Manta. Has an Aghanim Scepter queued up. Absolutely love this item on Anti-Mage, by the way. Really feels like you could just dump illusions in on the back lines. Maybe this game you dump the illusion in on the little Shrek. Create some havoc in the team fights, burn some mana. I mean, it really feels pretty good. Maybe it's not necessarily the strongest feeling item all the time, but I think it's very rarely a bad feeling item. So now 24 minutes in, we've seen 8k net worth lead built up by UCLA. The racks not going down, and looks like the range racks took just about 100 damage, so no long-term damage dealt to the barracks at least, but the tier 3 tower did fall. Now Roach can spawn again in just over a minute, so looks like UCLA will be playing around that, but look at the vision, and it'll start to get dewarded. This one, I was gonna say maybe it won't get dewarded, but since it's placed in the camp, UCLA might realize this word as well. But I was gonna say decent Roach vision out for York. TP's gonna come in bottom. Vico trying to split push out. Thao has to try and run his way away from the entire team. Vico drops that Sonic Wave, gonna turn towards Rubik, finds himself at least one kill in return. Forced out the Macropyre as well, and on the other side, Wraith King, wow. Fought out in the mid lane by the rest of York, so they do respond well to the TP's bottom, and allows Vico to say space created. The items coming out. We got a fresh BKB on Leshrac, vintage. Gonna be ready to go. See a smoke play over on the side from York. They want the wraparound. Remember, there's no co-op available. Anti-Mage is showing top as well. So it looks like this is just gonna be a dewarding mission. Haste rune gonna spawn. They'll give it over to the Kunkka. Look how deep. Jakiro. Just a bit too far forward. Sentry ward gonna be dropped. X mark. No range in the sentry. Will eventually be found. Mr. Bao gonna get taken down. UCLA, that net worth lead that was once 8k. Now settling in right around 4,000, 5,000. And starting to rupture kills just a little bit. Not too much cause for concern just yet if you're UCLA, but the game is starting to pull back into contention for York. Roshan gonna spawn in 30 seconds. And now, honestly, they're in good position to contest a potential Roshan, where before maybe they felt just a little bit like it was going to be a desperation fight around the Roshan, where they really weren't ready, but you've got to take it, otherwise you're just waiting to lose. Now jump forward, Rio. Trying to channel up the epicenter. Nightmare going to cancel it out. Vintage goes forward, is all the way in, and on the back lines, Wraith King has found Bane. But Vintage taking a lot of damage. Finally, he's going to be able to get that BKB off, but trying to do everything he can on the backline. A nice stun on the Kunkka, taking some right-click damage from Mirana. Now Lamello in, trying to click him down. Will do so with Vico. Now trying to clean up the rest of the fight. Lamello is in onto Mr. Bao. Will get clicked down as well. Wraith King isolated on the side. Does not have the shard available. Is going to pop the BKB, but no mana. Trying to TP home towards the fountain. Will make it. And Rubik will be cleaned up on the side by the dagger. And a huge bite for the side of York. Gonna swing this game back. Roshan has just spawned if they do check it. But looks like they are more interested in this mid tower. Wow, look at the gold on Anti-Mage. Did pick up that Aghanim's just before the fight, and says he only got 800 gold in that fight, so I don't know, feels like he got a bit more. He's now on top of the net worth by over 2,000. Fight absolutely gonna accelerate his next item as well. Feels like he just picked up this Ags, and he's already ready to get something else. As the Basher will be the item of choice coming out to him now. And you see the power once they were able to take down the Leshrac, it really just felt like the next step was to clean the rest of the kills up. Wraith King obviously able to do huge damage to the backlines, but once Lesh is down, you lose a lot of that AoE damage, and if you haven't won a favorable fight by then, you're in a lot of trouble. Both teams now are playing around that Roshan, ready to set up for it. Yule's up, actually gonna stop, not gonna stop the X mark back, but straight into the Ice Path. Maestro gonna be caught out. Wraith King is caught by that Fiend's Grip. Nothing to cancel the Fiend's Grip. Finally will go down. Vico on the backside did jump in, but we see Vico able to blink back. Gets a double kill, drops the Sonic Wave on a corpse. But three more kills gonna go the way of York, and blinking forward for more. Lamello wanted it, realizes he's blinking into the cores, so decides to be a bit more careful. But nice Nightmare actually catches him on the front. Vintage able to get the BKB off before the arrow comes through. But now trying to fight into everybody, and he's just going to get clicked down through that BKB. Lamello blinks forward to deliver the last hit. They might just take this tier 2 and then the Roshan. And Anti-Mage starting to feel like too big a problem to handle. And honestly, a very nice Fiend Script that fight. Wraith King pops BKB, immediately gets Fiend Script, and since they used the Burrow Strike and the Ice Path at the start of the fight on the Kunkka, there was nothing ready to cancel Fiend Script. So Gul'dan able to just channel from the back. No fear. I really feel like I do this a lot. I talk about the plays after they're over. I need a instant replay. But this is about the lowest production value you can get. It's just me and a camera.
The aegis of immortality.
Shard gonna be left over for the Kunkka. Maestro. Gonna like that one. Of course, Quap already has the Ag Shard. It's about the most necessary shard you can get, probably. I don't know if there's any shards that are more purchased in the game. I'm sure there's some, but Quap Shard feels absolutely essential to playing the game now. It really just does everything you want. Farm speed, check, silence, check. If people are standing on you when you blink, they're gonna get silenced. If you want to blink in, you know, really saves you from going Orchid or anything. He's able to just go for that extra damage, and a BKB is a defensive item. Rubik just dealing with the anti-mage Ag's illusion. Just, well, like, what a pain these things are to deal with. You toss some illusions out on the back line. Lamello actually going to jump forward. Fresh Abyssal Blade picked up from the secret shop, and there's a freebie. Rubik gonna go down, and all of a sudden, maybe not all of a sudden, it's been a couple fights now, but an 8k net worth lead for York. Have that Aegis in hand. 3 minutes on it, but ready to just go up the high ground themselves. I say that they're gonna back off for now. We did see Vico TP back, deal with the split push of Vintage. Jumps forward on him, realized he was taking a bit of damage and had to be careful, and Vico, no cancel for this TP, so Vintage will get back. The rest of them are hunting though. They're gonna find themselves a Wraith King, who's pushed out pretty far bottom. Ag Shard is ready, so Reincar will pop, but tries to blink his way off to the side. Gonna be scouted out by the vision, but there's nothing to cancel his TP. His anti-mage. Looks like he blinked the real hero before he realized that he got vision of Wraith King with his illusion. I was wondering where the Mana Void was, because he didn't use it in the initial kill, or in the initial Reincar kill, I should say. So a little bit unfortunate. I was almost expecting that to come through. Kunkka as well. Ag Scepter complete, so Torrent Storm gonna be ready. And y'all are gonna appreciate this. I've upgraded my computer so the Torrent Storm won't lag us out. Anti-Mage X marked up. Did go up back to clear out that top wave. A little bit of split push pressure coming out from the Shrek, but honestly, I'd expect York to be ready to just go up the high ground here. 2 minutes left on the Aegis. They can force the Shrek back either by dealing with his split push or just by fighting into the high ground. Or putting pressure on the high ground, I should say. Yeah, Lamello wants to fight around this bot wave. See if Rio's a little bit too greedy. They've got him pinged out. They know he's there. Lotus Orb gonna try and save him, but not gonna be enough. He will pay with his life. 60 seconds on the deck with no Sand King. And that pick gonna be exactly what they need. Lamello gonna dump out the counterspell illusion. Blinks the real hero in, but not gonna be able to find anyone right away. Vico though finds Vintage, and with the wave pullback, able to pop the BKB. Vico though just standing his ground on high ground. Finally gonna blink back. But they forced out a BKB now. Torrent Storm is ready. So we'll see what the decision is. Lamello is ready on the side as well. Gonna jump forward, Abyssal Blade onto the Rubik. Caught up on the high ground, actually taking a lot of damage. Vico in with the Sonic Wave, just gonna hit onto the Shrek. Vintage taking some damage, but putting out some good damage onto Anti-Mage as well. But Sand King out on the front is gonna die back for this one. Did he buy back? He did. I'll be honest, I wasn't 100% sure. I was watching the jump forward from Anti-Mage. Saw the long respawn timer, so I figured he must have, but his respawn cooldown must have been relatively low when he bought back, somewhere in the order of like 20 seconds probably. Rubik has stolen Tidal Wave, so he's going to try and delay this push on the high ground as much as possible. Maestro trying to pull Wraith King out of the base, not going to get him all the way out. Meanwhile, we do see Lamello and Vico teaming up on that mid tower. Just trying to get around these dumb split earths. Because with the shard on Leshrac, it's so obnoxious to push uphill. Age is gonna be reclaimed as well. We'll hear the horn go off. And Lamello just chipping down these towers. Taking his time. There's no Sand King for another 30 seconds. Really no rush. Wraith King gonna jump forward, but now caught by the Nightmare into the era. Lamello on the backlines trying to deal with the supports, and Wraith King will go down. First life is popped. Tidal Wave gonna drag him back. BKB is ready, so he's gonna try and click down Kunkka. Kunkka in a bit of trouble, pops the Torrent Storm before he goes down, but will eventually get clicked down. And the rest of York gonna just back their way out. Oh, the dumb split earths. That is what it's called, right? Split earth? Yeah. I was thinking I might have been mixing that up with the Earth Splitter from Elder Titan. Just they sound too similar. Anyway, these dumb split earths with the Ag Shard are so obnoxious to push into. You don't want to pop your BKBs just to deal with the pulses of split earth, but then how are you really taking down towers? Especially when you've got Anti-Mage, Kunkka. Like, you have strong heroes, but you don't have that one big tower hitter. Meanwhile, on the other side in UCLA, right, they go up. They have a Wraith King with Deso. They have a... What was I saying? They've got a Leshrac as well with the Edict. And I didn't mean to click off him before I talked about this, but you can see what Wraith King's got queued up. IDC MMR. I don't know what his actual name is. Sometimes I feel bad, as a little aside, when players don't have their pro info set. They've got just like their regular pub names in. Because at the same time, you know, I don't know if people want to be called by what they've got on their profile all the time. So like maybe he wants to go by IDC MMR. Not exactly sure. I'd imagine not. Meanwhile though, you know, you've got your info set up. This man here wants to be called Gul'dan, for sure. Anyway, that's the aside. Wraith King had queued up a Rapier, but didn't think that one was gonna stick, and it won't. Really, I don't think what he needs this game is more damage. We've seen him do pretty well when he gets the opportunity to click in. So going for that Swift Blink, some nice mobility, some nice attack speed, is a lot better for him. Meanwhile, Lamello is sitting on 5k gold. See what he buys here. It's just Soul to Dust. He's got a Scotty queued up. And yeah, I'm really just feeling like more and more of a problem. Scotty completed. And he's got next on the agenda is Silver Edge. Could see him go Satanic too, if he felt so inclined. Looks like York are going to be content to just wait out the next Roche and top Rex. Sorry, bottom Rex was actually taken care of by the Shrek split push, so while they're waiting out this Roche, they are getting their lanes pressured a little bit. See here. I want to be careful not to miss anything with the illusions jumping in the base, but do want to highlight this split push because really UCLA side, this is exactly what Vintage needs to be doing, because he's got to take the pressure off of their base somehow. If they're only going to commit these X mark TPs to do it, then Vintage can continue to just play in the base. Has BKB ready. This time though, Bane is going to TP back, and Bean's Grip is ready. BKB TP going to try and come out, but Gul'dan gonna say absolutely not to that one. They sent him back first for a reason. Gonna get a full duration Fiend's Grip off. It will eventually find Vintage. I say that. He will come through to dodge the Sonic Wave, but he does go down. In the mid, UCLA responded. They did find Marana as the team, York team, not able to back exactly together. But they're not going to mind too much trading Marana for the Leshrac. And with Roach to spawn in just 10 seconds. See if the timing works out for York to go check it. Quap gonna jump in, gonna walk out, Roach is gonna spawn. Oh no. One of those things. This isn't gonna get checked for a while now. If they're lucky, Lamello will throw an illusion in, but looks like he's not gonna be headed that way. Maybe he is? Nope, he's gonna stay in the wave. Alright, this time, Gul'dan, he's gonna walk in. Hey, Roshan's up, let's go do it. And they're just gonna walk straight in. They have very good lane pressure. So, really not gonna feel threatened at all here. It's UCLA without Leshrac. Not gonna be in time to mount a response even if they do know what's going on. And let's see, Refresher Shard. Gonna go into Quap, I would assume. Double BKB, double Shivas, double Sonic Wave. Sounds pretty good to me. And a DD spawns. A bottle on someone. Yes. Not gonna bottle it up on AM, he'll just pop it right away, so. Gonna look to shove this game right down their throat. And nope, he actually TP's back. Under the guise of Moonlight Shadow, has Abyssal Blade, so Vintage. Again, not able to BKB TP away from Anti-Mage. Trying to run his way away, he does know something's up. Illusion gonna come forward and will get spotted out. And Vintage knew something was up, but not able to hide well enough. Does get caught out.
All you have to do is let me in.
And immediately Vintage draws on the map. Get this top lane out right now because they're gonna come in right through bottom. They're ready to go. There's no creeps ready, but Lamello gonna blink in the base anyway. Vico as well. TP's all coming back for UCLA. They want to try and defend this tower. Lamello gonna jump in and actually illusion blocks Wraith King in. Finally able to get away once his phase boots come up. And he's able to run away. Very low HP, but will survive. Lamello now caught up by the Split Earth. Dual Breath up. Burrow Strike reflected, but gonna keep him in the Split Earth. A lot of damage coming out onto Leshrac though, and he is gonna get cleaned up. That's a dieback on Lesh. 120 seconds on the deck. Rubik went down as well. IDC MMR in the backline, trying to deal all the damage he can. She's gonna get popped by Kunkka though, and he will just go down a second time as he is completely isolated on the front. Lamello jumped in on the back to clean up the supports. Wraith King goes down. And I'd imagine they'll call game number 2 here. Unless they want to just see the throne explode naturally. So a nice comeback for York, honestly. They were down 8k. Wow, Dota Plus is 93%. I don't like to put the most stock into Dota Plus, but there's 93%. That's crazy. Just an 8k net worth lead, and York able to come all the way back. So great game 2 victory again. You're probably seeing this on a game number 1 video. If you didn't listen to the beginning of the game and you're still listening after the post game screen, that's a little weird. Good for you. Game number 1, I believe, wasn't ticketed. Whether it was a forfeit game or it just didn't make it on the ticket because of week 1 issues, I have no idea. But we'll be back for game number 3.